Hi everybody, I'm Dim Chutsanov, a founder and solution architect of Singens. In this video, I would like to present you the Document Manager, a Dynamics 365 add-in that extends the default integration between Dynamics and SharePoint Online and enables you with advanced document management features. Let me start with an explanation what does it mean extends the default integration between Dynamics and SharePoint Online. Out of the box, there are settings in Dynamics that allows you to configure a SharePoint site as a document repository for your entity's documents. When you perform the setup, you can navigate to an entity, select Documents, and you see a Documents Grid Control. And this is the place where you can work with the documents. However, there are several limitations in this default functionality. As a number one limitation, we can point the search. This search for records control opens in a pop-up the default SharePoint search page. You cannot see the result documents in the Dynamics interface. You need to navigate to the SharePoint page. And as you can see, the experience is not quite good. Also, this page shows documents from the whole SharePoint site, not only from the entity that you are interested in. Limitation number 2 is the upload. Business users want something very trivial and simple like the multiple upload of documents. Currently, this control here supports only a single upload, which I agree is annoying. Another limitation of the default functionality for document management is that you cannot add this grid control in your forms. You can access it only here through this separate page, navigating to it through the Documents navigation link. And number 4 limitation is the security. Currently, there is no built-in functionality that copies the permission between the two systems. These tasks must be performed manually by a person who is very experienced with the both systems. Document Manager is built on the top of the default integration. This means that it reuses the same system lists and settings that this default grid control does. This technical approach is very important. It allows Document Manager to be safely added or removed from an instance that already use the default integration, and the documents added through the Document Manager are always visible in the default grid control and vice versa. In its initial version, Document Manager offers a solution of some of the limitations that I just mentioned. If you install and configure the add-in, you will have a real-time search that displays only documents related to the current entity. You can upload multiple documents and you can add this document grid control to any form like the one that I'm showing you now. Let me now show you how to configure the Document Manager. Document Manager is only available in the App Store, so you need to navigate to the store, find the Document Manager and install it. After the installation process complete, you will be able to see the solution package Singens Document Manager in your solution list. Click on the solution name and the configuration page will open. There are 3 important steps to complete the setup. They're Authentication, Document Locations, and Subscriptions. Let me now go through the configuration of each of these steps. Document Manager communicates with a web app that is hosted outside of the Dynamics. To be able to properly secure the communication with it, Document Manager add-in uses Azure Active Directory Authentication. And as a first step, you need to provide your admin consent about allowing the Document Manager external web app to communicate with your Dynamics and SharePoint. So click on the blue button Authentication and a pop-up with the requested permissions will open. Please review all of the permissions that the app requests. If you have any questions, please contact the support team of Singens. If you don't have any concerns, select the checkbox for consent on behalf of organization and click Accept. Now the authentication is configured. Let's set up the document locations. There are two supported modes here, default and custom. Default mode means that Document Manager will reuse the default Dynamics integrational model, and if a folder is not created for a specific entity, Document Manager will ask the user if he wants to create one on the same location as the default document grid control will do. One important note here, the default SharePoint path to an entity folder follows the pattern SharePoint site, library URL, folder URL, where the library URL is equal to the entity type name, like account, and folder URL is equal to the primary attribute value of the entity plus underscore and then the entity ID. The custom mode is designed for clients that have built their own logic for the SharePoint URL pattern. For example, you may have a custom workflow that runs on each entity creation and, depending on some rules, build a SharePoint URL. If you then store this SharePoint URL in the system list SharePoint sites and SharePoint document locations, the Document Manager will be able to use it and communicate with SharePoint folder. The second option here is about the Document Manager's behavior if the SharePoint folder is not yet created. If you choose the option Create Folder, Document Manager will read values from SharePoint sites and document locations lists, build the URL, open SharePoint, and if the folder does not exist, will create one on behalf of the current user. With these simple settings, you are able to use Document Manager in the two base business scenarios, default integration and custom logic. The last thing you need to configure before adding document grid control on the page is the subscriptions. You have the options to test the product by starting a 30-day free trial with full set of features. If you like the functionality, you can buy an annual key and apply it here. Now, after we see that all these three steps show the green status, let's go and add the document grid control on an entity form. To add the control, we need just to add a web resource to our page. So let's go in the form editor, pick up a section, and then click to add a web resource. We need to find the web resource named singens_docm.documents.html. So find this resource and add it. Make sure that these checkboxes are not selected. Provide appropriate height of the control, and usually it is good to be between 16 or 20. Remove the border because this brings a little bit better user experience. And now we can save and publish the form. And now the Documents Grid Control is added on our page, so we can start using the functionality. Enjoy!